Hello and welcome to the podcast. I am Mag, also known as Margaret Dahlberg, and
Angela. Angela, known as Ange. God,
I just look forward to this every time. I know. Well, that was a bit of an ambush, wasn't it?
You'd think you'd be ready with your name, but
I know. Should we? Okay. I was like, should we start again? Now we got to keep that in because that was priceless. That joke, Angela, was priceless. Oh my God.
Jeez.
So here we are. Oh my God, this is the second last chapter. It's almost over. This is chapter 6, Voices. And I realized for the first 4 episodes, it never occurred to me to recap, I guess, chapters 2, 3, and 4. I didn't realize I should probably recap because who knows the last time the person listened, they might not remember. So today I'm going to recap.
Okay. In last week's episode, use that voice.
In last week's episode, our heroine, Christine, had a bit of a nervous breakdown when she got broken up with by a guy she was working so hard to make things work with, and she kind of lost it, and she cut the daylights out of her hand and had to go to the hospital, and that was kind of the light bulb moment. She kind of got hit over the head, realizing that maybe she had a bit of work to do. So we're going to move on. Chapter 7. This is Voices, Monologue, and then Monologue.
And spoken singing. Also called singing.
Monologue and song. And then we'll come back and chat about it. Okay?
Okay.
The next day, I canceled my Match membership. I spent the following months focused on my kids, my jobs, and my friends. I wanted to learn to be alone. I went to movies, concerts, and even restaurants by myself. And quite frankly, I did not enjoy it at all. I noticed that when I was alone, my self-esteem would plummet. I'd think horribly negative thoughts. I'd see an attractive woman and think, I'm totally frumpy and fat. I look hideous. Or I'd see a happy family and conclude, I'm a terrible mother. I've totally failed my children. And I'd see practically anyone and decide, when people see me alone, they'll know I'm incapable of finding a partner. I started to wonder if the reason I felt so desperate for a companion to begin with was simply to distract myself from these cruel voices in my head. I shared this with Lisa over coffee. You seriously need therapy, Lisa accused. I literally do not have the capacity to help you with this. I considered Lisa's words. I felt I'd done a lot of personal exploration over the past while. Hadn't really helped anything. I felt exhausted at the thought of doing even more. As I sipped my latte, a table nearby erupted with a young mother and a hysterical young child. The little girl was hitting and punching at her mother and sobbing, No, 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 I don't like you, Mummy. You're mean. I would never put up with that. Lisa hadn't had kids, but I recognized the look on that mother's face all too well. I remembered those moments in public where I had to work to keep myself calm, knowing that if I got upset, things would only get worse. Plus, it felt like everybody was watching and waiting to see how would I handle it, and was I a good enough mother? I was deep in thought when suddenly I had an idea. What if I responded to my horrible thoughts the same way I responded to my kids when they acted like that? What do you mean? Lisa asked. Well, what if I can learn to just put up with my inner critic by not taking it so seriously and just not letting it upset me? Maybe, Lisa offered. It seems kind of tough. And perhaps a little too simple? Silence fell between us as we pondered the idea. But, Lisa began, what if you didn't have to succeed right away? I mean, you could simply experiment and practice. Lord knows you have lots of material to work with. We laughed. And in that moment, I decided to take all the energy and effort I had put into finding a man and use it to practice as much tolerance and compassion for the cruel voices in my head as I could muster. And eventually, it began to work. I must sweep away the little voices, sweep away the little voices in my head. I'm sitting here and my head is spinning. I sit in fear and the voices are winning. I'm sitting here and my pulse is racing. My legs are weak, yet I find myself pacing. Don't get in anyone's way. Don't disrupt anyone's life. Don't interrupt and don't delay. Don't cause them any strife. Turn yourself inside out. Do whatever you can. Do whatever you can. Do anything that you can. I must sweep away the little voices, sweep away the little voices in my head. I'm sitting here and the tears are streaming. I know the truth and I know I'm not dreaming. I'm sitting here and my throat is clenching. I cannot breathe and my heart is wrenching. Don't get in anyone's way. Don't disrupt anyone's life. Don't interrupt and don't delay. Don't cause them any strife. Turn yourself inside out. Do whatever you can. Do whatever you can. Do anything that you can. I must sweep away the little voices, sweep away the little voices in my head. Sweep away, sweep away, sweep away, sweep away the little voices. It's my time to shine. Cast those voices aside. Spread my wings and fly. Sweep away. It's my time to shine. Cast those voices aside. Spread my wings and fly. I spread my wings and fly. Fly so high. I must sweep away the little voices, sweep away the little voices in my head. Okay.
Alrighty.
Insert joke here.
Okay, I have something that came up. I love in the monologue how you talk about treating the little voices like you would a kid in a, like you were saying, maybe in a shopping center.
Like that's just an overwrought child.
Yeah.
That they don't know what they're saying. That child doesn't hate her mother. Her mother's not mean.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
I have this example from my own life. I have all of these notebooks, and I always have a notebook going, and I give stickers to my little piano students, right? So I have all these cute little stickers. And one day I saw this sticker, and it was supposed to be like this really cute rendering of a scary monster. But it was like a monster, but super cute. And I took it from the sticker collection and I put it at the front of my notebook. I wanted it to be there to remind me that if I feel like a darkness or judgment or whatever I feel that is a scary
the monster
thing
in your closet.
Yeah, that I can look at it and go, you know what? It's actually not that scary. It's a really good way. It's exactly what you're talking about. Like this representation.
You summed it up perfectly.
Yeah.
Like if we understand that those voices really are innocent, like they are pretty awful, but they are born from trying to help and protect you despite the awfulness.
Yeah.
And that's how young children who haven't learned, that's how they speak.
Right.
Like, and the other thing that occurred to me this time around too, you know, I when I listened to her talk about like how she would look at people, make assumptions about them, and then decide, like, just assume they were perfect and happy.
Yes.
And she wasn't. And it just made me think about, like, what we've said about social media, like, so much where you think this thing is going on.
You know, depending on how I'm doing, you know, we'll say mental health wise, that's the easiest way to say it. Like one day I remember, I don't know, quite a while back, I wasn't doing great. This was several years back. I was teaching students of a young mom. Everybody seems young to me these days. And so she came in with her 2 kids and she was pregnant with her 3rd. And, you know, she was talking about how she's going back to work, and then she was also training for a triathlon. I don't know. It was just like one thing after another. And I took that and I was just like, oh my God, I'm so freaking useless. Not only do I not have kids that I've raised, but I'm also not doing, just not, you know, like a triathlon whilst being pregnant and blah, blah, blah. Whereas, you know, there are other times when I can meet somebody like that and I'm celebrating with them because I'm where I should be in this life, in a place where I'm not comparing. But just in case I go down that hill, I just do not, I don't go on social media because I think most of the time if I were on social media, I'd be searching as some sort of doom scrolling. Like it's never, it's never, oh, I just want to celebrate these people. It's usually like you're looking for something, your subconscious is looking for something to take you down the, as my friend says, the shit bus, which I love that too, because I picture this shit bus, or my friend has helped me picture this, with all these people going, come on, get on. Don't you want to like say awful things about yourself? Come on. And you see it as all these characters. Like any way you can kind of witness them by having them as this exterior part of yourself.
I love that. You taught me the shit bus term. It is a really good term, and it is just...
Shout out to Sue.
Thank you, Sue. And beyond social media, I have this story that happened literally this morning. So I was on a walk by the river in Calgary here, and I saw a woman who is kind of a minor celebrity, and it used to be a couple. And I would see this couple together. I've seen them all over the city, and they're almost dressed like they're in an Oscar Wilde play. They actually were in the news featured for how beautifully they dress when they walk around Calgary. Anyway, the last 2 years, I've noticed her, but not him. You know, my initial thought is he's aged out of walking, or not well, or passed away, or whatever. So I look at them. I mean, they are dressed in a way that makes, you know, talk about me feeling frumpy. And I never dress up, but they are dressed, like I said, like they're going to a garden party in a castle in England. And she walked past me today, and I looked at her, and I walked on, looped around. And as I was looping around, I heard this yelling, and I thought it was a street person down in the park, because I could hear, oh no, I won. And I looked over, and it was her. And she was on the phone. And it was like this bubble that I'd had for years burst. And I went, oh my God, she's a real person. It was just the most incredible moment of, oh, guess what? She's normal, real, and has real issues in her life. It was just a real needle pulling. What was that? An old barn
sea
door?
Lion, I don't know. Old barn door. That was good.
Yeah. Anyway, my point being is, like, you just make these assumptions about people because of how they look.
Yeah.
And so if we do that regularly in regular life, imagine, like, social media gives you a chance to do that multiple times in a minute.
Yeah, so you can kind of, I think we could maybe handle the voices if they weren't given more gas through comparison. It's almost like you have to develop this awareness that as soon as you hear those voices, okay, don't go on the shit bus, don't add anything to it, don't doom scroll, don't, you know, like just really kind of surround yourself with what you think will help to calm the voices. But what we tend to do is, I don't know, we look for fuel for the fire for some reason. It's just a natural.
I think so. I do think, I mean, I believe so. I mean, first of all, this chapter was the hardest one to write and has had the most rewrites and changes because it was really hard to concisely and efficiently sum up something that to me takes years, right? It takes years, but I do think you can learn. And it's like what you said recently, where as soon as the awareness comes, where you go, oh my God, I don't want to talk to myself like that. So there is that quick realization and decide to shift. But it does take time, you know, and it takes learning, and sometimes it takes a friend, you know, and to say, oh, are you sure you're not just on the shit bus? Because, I mean, I do find that if I am on the shit bus, I just let everything in, you know, and usually I can catch it pretty quick, but I do find for me the hardest time, the biggest hooks that catch me and pull me onto the shit bus is anything about my kids, because whatever reason, like I can let go but there's something about that deep responsibility for raising, and I have so much fodder. Like I've got their whole life and every mistake I ever feel I've made, and yeah,
I can see that. I because I don't have kids, my shit bus thing was often, why can't I accomplish as much as this person? Why do I have some mental health struggles that prevent me from, or prevented, we'll say past tense right now, although, you know, things change, but there was a time period where I just wasn't able to do what I would have wanted to do because of where I was mental health wise. So then I would be like, oh my God, I could have been doing this. I see all these other people who have progressed so much in their lives, and they weren't slowed down by these things. You know, a lot of them were, I'm just going to say for any listeners, perimenopausal and menopausal symptoms that showed themselves as mental health struggles. That once I got on hormone replacement therapy was a game changer, but I didn't know that. And so I was just like, what's wrong with me? You know?
Right.
So, it was just like, I could have been. And it's funny, I don't feel that at all, even though I did lose, you know, maybe 10 years of time where I could have been creating or something. I do feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, and that I wasn't, that I was supposed to experience those things.
I would suggest that it progressed. It just didn't progress maybe as intensely or deeply, and it couldn't be your focus. It couldn't be your focus.
Couldn't be,
But, and I think, and career stuff has been challenging for me for sure too. And you and I have talked about it. And I think because in music, in the music world, people define success either by fame or by finance, right? And or maybe in the whole world. Maybe I've just simplified, because it seems like, I think for me, it sometimes was hard to look and go, I'm in demand for what I have to offer, and I am able to pay my bills. That was never enough. It was always like, I made peace with not being famous. I don't care about that at all.
Yeah.
For me, it became looking at friends. And I mean, you can't look, if you're in your 50s, you can't compare yourself to someone who, say, was an engineer from age 25 to 54. You know, like they are making six figures and have pensions, and like they could, a lot of them are retiring. Yeah. You know, so, but the problem is we measure that as success. So it really is easy to look at people and go, but anyway.
Yeah. But and I think I'm mostly friends with people in my demographic. I have a couple of friends who are in a different one, but yeah, it's a little bit easier to relate, I think, sometimes when you're, you know, you're like, okay, I'm not retiring, you're not retiring, we're just going to be doing this together, you know?
Yeah. Maybe we'll still be doing this podcast when we're 87. What about those voices? Okay, I was just thinking about this, because so I feel like I've gotten goodish at recognizing them, but again, the ones that, there are times where I'll get pulled in. But do you ever have those moments where you'll be like walking along, having a great time, feeling super present, everything is wonderful, and then suddenly, bam, there's like the awfulest, like from nowhere.
Yes.
And I can't even think of, I wish I could think of an example, like, except you're like fucking loser. You know, it's like something that's so, whoa, like I can have the wherewithal to go, oh my God, what is that about? You know? But like, is that just blows my mind, those ambushes.
I had one this morning, which I'm not going to describe, except to say that I knew for some reason I was able to have the wherewithal to go, okay, that was a fucking scary thought, but it's coming from subconscious material, so I'm just going to allow it. It was just, it's not like, it was just telling me what is down there.
Yeah.
And so, because somebody told me recently, or I listened to somebody talking about nightmares and how, a man named Henry Shukman, who is an incredible writer and Zen practitioner and spiritual teacher, blah, blah, blah. And he talked about dream work and how before you understand about dream work, you have these nightmares and you just, when you wake up, you just want to go, oh no, God, push that away. But if you are open to what it's bringing from your subconscious, you can use it. It can be a gift. And so I'm sort of trying to look at, or I've been dabbling with that, with those ambush things. Because, we put these things into good or bad, right? But what if it's information? Mm-hmm. You can go, okay, this is stuff, like we all have this deep subconscious material, right? That it's going to come out somehow, whether it's in our health or whether it's in our dreams or whether blah, blah, blah. But why not, to a certain point, welcome it when it's the right, like an ambush thought and just be
absolutely
like, interesting. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, going back to the analogy of the small children, I work with very, very young children, and I've learned that the best way to help them when they're scared or when they have something bad happen is not to say, oh, you're fine, or it'll be okay, but especially just to step into it with them.
Yeah.
Like, you are scared right now. Because we just want to sweep away the little voices.
Yeah. You're fine.
You're fine. You're okay. I've had such a success with that. And often I have with myself as well. I mean,
not being a mother, I don't know if this would be different. If this would be different for
and
you.
You've been a teacher.
Yeah.
Like, you've worked with children your entire life.
But sometimes when I see a mom, and I saw one the other day doing this, the kid was, I was at the farmer's market, and there were 3 kids, and the youngest one was feeling left out from the older ones, whatever they were doing. And the mom just picked him up, and she was just rubbing his back so tenderly with so much patience. And whenever I see that, I get this like visceral, like, and I know that's how I have to treat myself, like she's just tenderly, and it's such a deep experience for me to see a mother with their child in that way, or a mother with a baby like screaming and the mom's not reacting, they're just holding.
just having that moment. And for years when I first started learning more about the separation between these internal voices we're talking about and self, whatever conscious level I was at, and just this concept of taking it by the hand, like taking this little child by the hand and say, okay, let's go together. Like, I'll be there with you, and learning that concept of, adult us, we should be fine. We should be whole beings, like capable of managing our lives. And so if we're not feeling that way, that's probably a child voice.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we should be on our own either. If we're not feeling that way, that's probably child voices coming up, but we still may need friends, therapists, whoever to support us. But I do find that very useful, and in writing and talking, and I'm very good at doing it with friends and young children and my kids too. Like, I think that there are things certainly I wasn't good at as a mother, but I do think I was very good at honing in and sort of creating safe space for them, I think. We're not going to have them on the podcast. Don't even mention it. They're not even going to know about this podcast. But yeah, so this was a hard one to write, and I think I got the point across. And I was saying, like, I have this thing called, I jokingly call it clown syndrome, where when something's really serious, I can't handle it. And so while Angela and I were listening to the song, I was just like, oh my God, I can't listen to the song. And then I started making jokes, and then I started laughing because, I was trying in that song to really create that moment of feeling like you can't handle it, like and all those voices as a child, like, nobody said this to me. Nobody said don't get in anyone's way, don't disrupt anyone's life, don't interrupt, or don't delay, don't cause any strife. Turn yourself inside out, like, do whatever you can to keep yourself lovable. Those were voices that my child self created to try and cope. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so I was making all these jokes and then listening to it, and I was turning my, like, crawling out of my skin listening to it. But then the turnaround and the realization that, like, if you do sweep them away, what is the potential? Like, fly high, spread your wings and fly, And so I was just glad I got to that point. But
or I hate to be, I'm finding myself, like, here are some quotes of Angela these days. This spiritual teacher, oh my God, okay, I've been saying that a lot. Or we have to just welcome them and integrate them. So we just want to, in terms of sweeping them away, maybe there's, that's like, get away, you're not good. Instead you're somehow bringing them to you, rubbing their backs.
Oh no, now I have to rewrite it.
You have to rewrite it. Come to me and
sweep
let me
the back
integrate you
with your fingers.
It's as they say in IFS. I don't know. I'm not a lyricist.
I love it. But because that's absolutely right. I mean, again, it's been years, but I picture Cinderella.
Yes.
Sweeping with the mice.
I think if you can treat yourself, how we were talking about the last one, I think if you can learn to be really compassionate to yourself, to the voices, that will extend out to how you treat your partner as well.
I just had this download. What did you call it? Moment. It's like, so I often think about parents and whether or not they've advocated for their children, and if they don't advocate for their children, then their children don't learn to advocate for themselves and understand and know when they're being mistreated. So the first step is we need to recognize that it's not okay what we're saying to ourselves.
Right.
Even if you are, let's say the doctor or the weight index has indicated that you are a percentage overweight, you still cannot talk to yourself in that way.
Right.
Like, it's never okay to be unkind to ourselves.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, we're not really taught that. Like, and I do think part of it is about whether we can advocate for our kids. And I know that is one of the hardest things to do. Like, it's hard to not.
What do you think about this, though? The way we hear our parents talk about themselves has a real effect on how we talk about ourselves. So that not necessarily them advocating, but just the things that they might say about themselves.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I certainly, I haven't thought of it with my parents, but I know that I've always believed children will do what we do and not what we say.
Yeah.
So if I keep telling my child they're beautiful just as they are, but I'm looking in the mirror or talking to, just complaining about whatever feature of myself I'm not happy with, well, that's what they're going to learn.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And so absolutely, like, our parents are of a certain generation where you mostly did, speaking of sweeping, you just sort of swept things to the side, especially women and how they're being treated by, men and objectified and, not given in the same voices and the same opportunities. And it seems like that was just sort of like, just keep your head down and just get on with what you're trying to do and don't rock the boat. And
what was that show that took place in the 50s, 60s? Very famous show.
Mad Men?
Mad Men. Thank you. God, good one. I remember watching an episode with my mom, or maybe I was just telling her about it. Anyway, she was a secretary back in those days.
Oh, mine too.
And she was just like, yep, that's exactly the way it was. And we were talking about how like they were just so objectified, right? Yep. And they were just serving the men, and then you wonder why women from that era may become a little bit angry and resentful.
Well, and why
as they grow.
Why my mom and your mom both are piano teachers, and they both worked really hard to have careers.
Yes, and make their own freaking, to
have their own money and have their own control and power.
Yeah, to have their own control and power mostly. Yeah.
So my mom also, she was a secretary on Madison Avenue for an advertising agency in the early 50s.
Whoa.
Isn't that funny? So she went, and I had her watch the first episode of Mad Men. They didn't get into it, but she's like, yep. And she talks about those martini lunches, like the execs would go out and they just, and they would treat women like that. And yeah, it's pretty fascinating to think about what it must have been like to experience that turnaround at the age they were at, because they were adults when they were objectified and repressed.
Yeah.
And then the sexual revolution must have blown their mind. Like, I'm sure it's still hard for our mothers. Well, your mother saying, wait 6 months to a year. Like, that must have blown their minds. But I think what they loved was that women were working.
Yeah.
And I've never forgotten this moment. I might ask my mom permission if I can have this in, but I will never forget the moment. I know exactly where we were in the car. I was probably anywhere between 9, 10, 11 years old, and my mother was so frustrated with my father. Something around, he was always slow to pay bills, so he didn't care. He was never worried about things getting shut off, but we'd get warnings, and that was not my mom's jam. Like, she hated that, and she would never be late paying for anything. And I just remember a day where she's like, Margaret, you better make sure that you are independent, like that you have your own money. I can't remember. I don't remember her exact words, but I remember the message loud and clear. Like, do not rely on another person's income.
Right.
The irony with that is I actually really wanted someone with a greater income for years. I was always kind of wistful that I didn't have a partner with lots of money, that I could have stayed home more and worked less. And
especially with kids, like although I don't know, who knows.
Well, looking back, we don't need to talk about parenting and kids, but so finding partners is, again, like what we said in the last episode, we think we're finding partners, but our partners are being brought to us. And I just realized that I was not meant to have wealth from another person. I was meant to learn to earn wealth myself and become successful myself. And I needed that drive. I needed the drive to become a productive person. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't have built up the businesses I've built up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I needed that drive in order to stay motivated during tough times. Like, yes. I had, and we talked about that.
That too. And I will share that there were years, there were a few years post-divorce where I remember there were days where I would just, like, I felt like I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't go on. I had the kids that motivated me, but for me, more than anything, it was having to go to work and being enough of a owner shareholder that I understood that not going to work would really impact the program, which would impact my income. Like, it always came down to that for me. 'Cause this may not be obvious to listeners. Angela and I have never had vacation pay, never had sick pay in our lives. We don't have pensions. Like, anything we do, anything we have is what we've saved and earned. So, that's not fair to say, because people do save and they earn their pension and they're paying into it. But. Yeah. So anyway, it seems like she's moving towards good things.
Yeah, I think things are going deeper. Like, she's as she's going on in this story, we're getting some deeper reflections.
Yeah. So, Ange, we have some feedback to cover today.
I love this. My favorite thing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it is really fun. I hope we get lots and lots more feedback. So this is on chapter 3, the episode Comfort, which is where she's looking for self-love and she's trying all these different things and nothing's working. So here we go. And a person wishing to stay anonymous has written in. Coming from the perspective of someone in a long-ass married monogamous relationship, we are both actively seeking more self-compassion and honestly just wish we had been taught it earlier on in life. Recovering people pleasers we both are, and raising kiddos with this awareness has been a fascinating journey. And we are always, always seeking to improve our own selves, both for each other and for our individual self. Self-love is so, so, so important. And I think the more we talk about it and the more we destigmatize the idea that we should be pleasing others before ourselves, the more aware we will become. Just some food for thought. Wow. Another fantastic.
Yeah.
I just love, we're getting such great feedback
I
from
know.
people. It's neat because, you know, this is based on chapter 3, but I feel like this is stuff we talk about a lot, and you and I are talking about a lot. This concept of people pleasing and pleasing others, and you know how the deeper sense of self-love we find, the less of a need we have to please others. I think I've talked about recently this book. I just got to know the Are You Mad at Me? The Meg Johansson book. And I listened to a podcast interview. I've talked about this before with her. And just like this, the people-pleasing tendency is just so deep.
Yeah, I wonder if people are able to separate, because sometimes they'll identify themselves as a people pleaser but not realize what's behind it. And what's behind it isn't like an altruistic martyr sort of thing. It's like, for myself, I'll speak for myself. If I please this person, then they will be there for me. And then you and I were talking about this the other day, about when we are more authentic and we're not trying to people please, the people around us actually appreciate it, because then they don't have to try to figure out why, and it's like, it's not this puzzle, like we're just clear.
Yeah.
There's this clarity.
Yeah, there's no guessing.
Yeah.
What I found it interesting, you know, there is people pleasing that's simply because you care about someone and you care about doing something and you do it for them and you feel good about it.
But maybe you call that just caring for somebody.
Yeah,
not
absolutely. Yeah. And then the difference is, how do you know if you're like a people pleaser in the negative sense? Yeah, I'm doing air quotes for my listeners here. Is if, although you're doing something giving, you're not feeling good about it, or you're feeling conflicted about it, if you're feeling resentment.
Yes.
And I thought that was interesting. It reminded me what I was talking about, what I learned about addiction, which is it's when you're doing something that you want to be doing and not want to be doing at the same time. And I was thinking, oh my God, that's like, people pleasing is the same thing. It's like you want to be doing it and you don't want to be doing it.
Oh,
and
that's interesting.
this desire to be loved, of course. The people pleasing is more about love and rejection, I think. But
yeah, with the self-love, if you somehow can have compassion for yourself and you don't need it constantly 24/7 from outside of yourself. Of course, we all need people and we all need love, but then maybe it's easier for us to not be just giving up ourselves.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that. And what I liked was what you said about how well people respond, because I do feel like the people that are closest in my life often are the ones calling me out to be more authentic, to be more real. And for me, that is not being the people pleaser. And I do think people respond well to that, because maybe they feel more comfortable. Maybe there's this feeling of instability when someone's doing so many nice things for you, and they're just saying yes to everything you're asking.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that feeling of power, like imbalance, like
Yeah.
in a relationship.
Or what if it's like this? You know, when you have a parent, well, they say this, if you have a parent who doesn't put up any boundaries, the child will feel kind of unstable.
Yes.
So
Oh my
maybe
God.
just like from human to human, if I take care of my boundaries and what I know is best for me and how I need to live my life and run my business, then you know where you sit.
Yes.
And just like you say, there's no guessing, and we both feel stable in this relationship. No, we don't have to take care of one another because each person is taking care of themselves to a certain degree.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, well that feels like you just made the best possible point. That feels like a perfect moment to say thank
Bye-bye
you for
now.
writing in. Yeah.
No,
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
anonymous
Yeah.
person, for writing in. Keep them coming, people.
Yes.
Please send us messages
These are
and or voice notes. And thanks again.
thanks, Margaret.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye now.
By the way, So This Is Love is all me, piano, keyboards, all written by me, and some really great engineering by my friend Matt Bird at Blanket Fort Music. Oh yeah, and the really cool artwork is by Stephen Morton.